welcome everybody. I want to welcome Turo, my partner, who came up with me this weekend. And I also see some other new faces here, so welcome everybody and welcome our regulars. And just breathing into those songs, we've got I Am Peace, Let It Be, and Peace Train. And as I say each week, I'm always amazed, even when Marvin and I don't connect, the music he chooses always fits in so powerfully with what I want to share with you. And my title of my talk today is Let God Serve You. And we think so much about us being servants of God that, in a sense, that's a radical concept. But in truth, that's what Jesus Christ came to tell us. The Father is here. Ask in faith, and it shall be given unto you. He talks about the lilies of the field and that they do not toil. They simply open their petals and shine, and they are given everything they need. Talks about the birds, that they don't need to store up the food and the grains, that they simply are present in that grace of God. And so I'd like to start by talking about how we ask for God to serve us. And to be served, we need to know what we want, first of all, right? I did a workshop last weekend down in Guerneville called Dare to Dream. And a lot of the work, I actually called it a play shop. So a lot of the play that we did that day was opening to the experience of spirit. Because spirit is within us. It's not some, kingdom of heaven is not out there. God is not some old man who's sitting up in the cloud with the beard waiting to reward us if we're good or smite us if we're bad. God is an energy that lives within us, that is closer than our very own breath. And so during the Dare to Dream workshop, we spent some time. We did the Miracle in 3 Breaths here when we did the guided meditation. I encourage all of you, if you can get here early, it's a big part of the experience because we talk about the ideas during the service or during my lesson. But during the meditation, it's about really feeling and experiencing that God force that not only moves through us, it is us. In the workshop I took yesterday with Paul Hasselbeck, who's one of the really renowned Unity teachers. He's written a number of books. The book we were looking at was Heart-Centered Metaphysics. We did an exercise where we looked at each other, and the first one was, we said, hi, my name is, and we used our name, and the other person said, hi, nice to meet you, and shared their name. And then we said, hi, I am the Christ Spirit. Or I am the presence of Christ. And we said, hi, how are you? Back and forth. We noticed how that felt. And the last one we said, hi, I am Christ. And that was a challenge for a number of people, yet as we did it, as I did it, something shifts. It takes a big opening in my mind and in my concept because we think of that energy, even in Unity, who, we've been talking about these principles that God is within us, moves through us, but to say, I am God, I am Christ, something opens. A power begins to flow through. Maybe part of it is a fear, like, oh my goodness, I can't accept that much responsibility. And yet it really is what Jesus Christ taught us. All this and more ye shall do, he said, talking about his miracles. So what if what he came to teach us really is true, that we have the ability to form matter in the way he did to create healing, miracles, turn water into wine, heal the sick, raise from the dead. I think I shared a number of weeks ago that there's one of the spiritual books that I think has something to do with the masters, and someone who said some of the great spiritual masters came back, and it was during the late 1800s. And that the thing that Christ said when he came back, whether this is true or not, I find it very interesting. He said, why all this talk about the crucifixion? What about the resurrection? Perhaps that is why that demonstration was made of him dying so powerfully and painfully on that cross, so that his resurrection, the fact after 3 days he came back, whether it was in his physical body or his light body, however he manifested, his face, body, vision came back to a number of the disciples so powerfully that if you read the Bible, you read the history, their lives changed. Many of the Christians, after Christ was crucified, after Jesus was crucified, they went into hiding. They feared for their lives because they saw what happened to their great teacher, and they scattered. And yet a number of them, the ones who reportedly had the vision of Christ coming back, they came out of hiding with no fear and began speaking Christ's word and sharing it. They were able to let go of their fear of death because they must have had a very powerful vision that he did actually come back and appear to them. So in my studying for the dream workshop that I did, I picked up a book called The Tibetan Yogas of Dreams and Sleep. And their whole purpose of going into the dream world using specific meditations and specific practices to become conscious while dreaming, the whole purpose of that is so when they reach the point of death, which they believe that's where we go to when we dream, we go into that other realm as we let go of the body during sleep. As we can become conscious in the dream world, it allows us to move directly into what they call the rainbow body, which I believe is our light body. And I also believe that people in their light bodies, perhaps our ancestors, perhaps those who have passed on, they may be all around us and present with us all the time. And because we haven't developed those inner senses to see them, we don't. But yet we know there are people on the planet today who can sense and see spirits, who recognize them. I know some of the work that I did with Sue Fredericks, some of the grief work that helps people connect with their loved ones on the other side. Through doing those processes and tuning in with people whose loved ones have died, I felt the energy. I know I've shared with you some of the messages I've gotten from both my mother and father who have passed on during my meditation practice, consciously calling them in. So these are some of the ways we can let God serve us, is by opening to what Jesus talked about, opening to the fact that we are connected to those on the other side. We don't have to die to be able to connect with spirit, to connect with those who have passed. The Native Americans certainly teach us this as well, and I'll get to that a little bit later. So, another concept that I want to talk about, but before I move on, I really want to talk about dare to dream. What that is being willing to ask for what we want. Ask for what we want. And to do that, it's really, I think, important and powerful to take time each day to detach from the outside world and to go within. To let it be, as Paul McCartney said. You know, let the outer life be. When you find yourself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. We experienced that at the beginning of the day today during our meditation when I focused on just simply breathing. That sigh of relief. We can do that right now. We usually don't breathe that sigh of relief until we've gotten all the things we think we have to do done, all that mythic urgency, as Valerie said, which is that thing that hangs over us, and all the things we have to do. And if we can get all these things done and complete it, we can finally feel good enough about ourselves to take a deep breath and just let go. Guess what? At any moment you can choose to take a deep breath and let it go. Let it be. Allow, whether it's Mother Mary, whatever symbol or vision or energy comes to you that allows you to let go and surrender. And then from that space, you dare to dream. What do I want? What would I like to see show up in my life? What do I want to ask Spirit for? And we ask in faith. Very simple, but not easy. Because that ego mind is going to jump in and find out all the reasons why it can't happen. Not enough money, that person's going to be angry with me if I don't, all those things. But if you ask in faith, that means you don't have to do it. You're turning it over to a higher power, trusting that, yes, you got to take actions, you got to take steps. But actions and steps doesn't mean going up into your ego mind and making that whole game plan, well, I've got to do this. Because very often, the minute we get up into our head, we start finding all the reasons why it can't happen. Dare to dream. Feel the energy of the vision. Because how do we know what to dream? What's the thing inside us that says, yes, this is a good dream, this is something I want? Anyone have an answer?
I tend to dream about what I'm attracted to, or what I want more of in my life.
And how do you know? How do you know what you're attracted to?
I have a reaction to it that I like.
It's a feeling,
yeah,
right? It's a vibration.
Yeah.
We feel it in the body. It gives us that feeling. So the gift of understanding that is that the feeling is what is going to manifest those things. And very often, if you think of those things, like for me, for a while, it was the Cadillac that had my initials on the back.
Right.
I would think about that Cadillac, and it would give me a good feeling. And just being with that feeling in the moment, I realized, I don't really have to have that Cadillac, because it was this feeling I was looking for. That's part of letting it be. So when we dare to dream, we can have those dreams that give us the feeling, be in the feeling, and then if it's meant for us to have those dreams, if that's what Spirit wants for us, the actions will become clear. We'll see something that will happen, we'll say, oh, I can take an action here, and the action should be fun. The action should have good energy around it. Not to say that moving forward in what we want with life, letting go of old patterns and stepping outside our comfort zone, is not going to move us through what sometimes may feel the shadow of death. Stuff may come up. If we can trust that the stuff that comes up around moving towards our dreams is what we need to release to allow them to come into us, then we are becoming conscious creators. Then we're asking God to serve us, and we're saying, okay, He's serving us, but what He's serving us right now feels like something I don't want. Trust that this is a process to moving towards what you want. So denials and affirmations, very important part of the Unity teaching. And it can sound like his affirmations are affirming what we want. This is how I want my life to show up. This is what I want. I want abundance. I want all the money, enough money to pay my bills and to buy something extra to be able to enjoy my life. And then we look at our life and we say, oh my God, I've got more bills than I have money for. And so denials are about affirming what we want. And then when we see that our life isn't showing up to give us that, we deny it. I know I struggled with that. Because how can I deny reality? It's right there, and as much as I went up into my head, I said, you know what, guess what? My bank account is still in the minus place. So to me, affirmations and denials means seeing the big picture. Mm-hmm. Recognizing that, yes, we're on this physical reality that's based in time and space, so time is a big part of it. So it takes a while for things to manifest. So it's not necessarily denying what's there, saying, oh, this isn't there. It's like, well, there's not enough money right now. But it's trusting and having faith in the spiritual realm that if you keep affirming, this is what I want, this is what I see for myself, and being in the feeling of knowing that there's that ever-loving Spirit that is going to give you what you need when you need it, then you can open to it. The other feeling sense that it's important to be in is to recognize that principle in unity. If there is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent, then everything that's showing up in your life has something good in it for you, has something for you. So I'm going to go back to my minus bank statement and say, how can this be good? And this is where the presence process comes in, which I've shared a lot with you. which is really a process that really allows us to say yes to whatever is showing up in our life and trusting it. And in a way, it flies in the face of the denials and affirmations thing, or the law of attraction, which is the Abraham material, which is you're always trying to move towards the better feeling. Sometimes we need to move into that discomfort, because our energetic solar plexus, this vibration we feel in our solar plexus, that is the energy that helps to manifest. That's the energy that we put out that creates what we want. And if we've got blocks down there, we're going to spend most of our energy trying to run from that discomfort. And what the universe does, that bigger field that's all-powerful, it wants us to come into full harmony and balance. It wants us to be able to let it be, to take the deep breath, to find that place of comfort within and without. So if there's unresolved feelings going on inside that we haven't been willing to look at, the world is going to keep bringing up situations that are going to push you into that place, because they want you to feel it and let it go, because it's getting in the way of you being able to fully manifest consciously. So we need to become conscious of what we're feeling in here, and if we're not willing to go there, the outside world is going to push us there. So this concept, and it's a big concept, but what it does, it allows us to be grateful for those things that come forward and push our buttons. It allows us, as you begin to do the process and see how it works, you begin to clear, you begin to feel a lightness on you rather than that heaviness. You begin to just be able to let life be rather than constantly, oh my God, I've got to fix this, and if this finally gets done, and oh, if this would just happen, and then if this person would act this way, then I could finally stop and take a deep breath and feel okay. So it allows you, when those things that come up that you think need to be fixed, you can look at it and say, okay, am I wanting to fix this so I can feel better? And if the answer is yes, then stop and feel the feeling. Breathe into the feeling. The Tibetan book, Dreams and Sleep, talks about allowing the emotion to self-liberate, which they say is the release of karma. It's what letting go of karma is. Jesus Christ, when he came, he said, I'm here to bring grace, which for me, as my understanding of it, it's the letting go of karma. It's the letting go of having to prove yourself and then pay for your past sins. It's that back and forth. It's what God really wanted to give us as Jesus entered the planet. And so how we do that is allowing ourselves to feel the feeling and detach from the story. So this is an important part of it, and I know I've shared some of this with you before, but it's important to say it again and again, because it's so contrary to how we come at life. The ego mind wants to fix. It needs a job. It has a big investment in not feeling pain and discomfort. What if pain and discomfort wasn't the enemy? What if it was our friend that was calling our attention to an imbalance, and that the way we heal through that is simply to breathe into the pain or discomfort, just like we did in the beginning meditation, of trusting that our process of breathing is what facilitates this physical evolution of this universe. We breathe in the old and breathe out the new. We communicate with the trees and the green things through the breath. We're breathing in what they exhale. What if it's not just gases, but it is divine consciousness, intelligence? Because we know that everything is evolving. There is no ever going backwards. There's always more, always the more, nevertheless. That's the process of life. And the process of breath is always moving us forward into the next moment. It's never the same. Each new breath is new. So the ego mind is attached to nothing ever changes. An old emotional charge gets triggered by something new in life, something that's different, but we say, oh my God, why is this happening again? This isn't happening again. It's a new situation, but it's attracting us to an old emotion. We're stuck in the past through this emotional center. So being willing to breathe into those things that push our buttons, why doesn't this go away? Being aware when we're reacting to life, which means we're running around trying to fix something on the outside because of a feeling inside. Going to the cause rather than trying to fix the effect is really doing what these songs say. Let it be. It's allowing us to actually be at that place of peace where there's so much less to do. And it's what allows God to come through and serve us. So many of the things we're doing are not ours to do. They're a reaction to some uncomfortable emotional thing, those uncomfortable emotions are that inner part of us. If you want to call it the inner child, although what I like to say is nobody really has an inner child unless they're pregnant. And then they do an inner child. But it is a part of ourselves that was not accepted, that we thought, if I need to fit into this world, I need to deny my anger, my grief, my sadness, my spontaneity, my joy. I mean, how often do we say to kids, simmer down, inside voice, there's too much going on here. They are just bubbling with life. And so we were taught very early to not let that energy out. And so this process is a way of going back and saying, hey, I'm here for you. I'm listening to you. I'm listening to that part of you. Because that part is very connected with God and Spirit. It's not all of it. Our inner child needs the loving parent. And that's what we're becoming when our buttons get pushed and we stop trying to fix, stop running around like chickens with our head cut off. You know, basically saying, where can I find peace? Which is ultimately what we're trying to do when we're out there trying to fix everything and do all those things. Let it be. If it's a feeling, and what does it mean to let it be? Doesn't mean to run from it, doesn't mean to deny it. It means to let it be, to be present with it. So it really is about learning to say yes to ourselves. A lot of us have learned how to say yes to all the things outside in life that are calling to us. First, primarily, you need to say yes to you, because if that statement is true, I am Christ. You need to listen to that Christ Spirit. And we experience life through the feeling. We dream through the feeling, what the feeling is that it gives us. So we need to honor those feelings without judgment. Anger is just anger. It doesn't mean I'm bad or that person is bad that's causing me to feel angry. It's just an energy that's coming up that's wanting to bring you into integrity, into harmony. Grief. How many of us are holding on to grief? A lost loved one, a relationship that didn't work out. You know, so many things. And just to allow ourselves to have that sadness, that grief. How many of us run from depression or things, run to a pill, run to this? I mean, sometimes it may be necessary to go medically and get something that's going to help you feel better and come into balance. And how often do we take a pill and take some chemical to try to suppress a part of us that is actually trying to come into balance? Depression is, I just want to stop and just be. Let it be. Sometimes we need to stop and just sleep for a day. Or even just give ourselves the right to. I found I had a lot going on the past couple weeks, and I found myself feeling, oh my God, I'm exhausted, I'm not going to be able to do it all. And then I kept, because of the presence process and because of the work I've been doing, I kept saying, what am I feeling right now? Well, right now I'm feeling okay. I was with the kids, and they can be demanding, so it's like, and my job right now is just to focus on the kids. So as I did that, the exhaustion went away, and I realized the exhaustion because I was with the kids, but I was projecting, well, I've got a client later, and then I've got this workshop coming up, and then I've got to be speaking at Unity of Ukiah. Have I planned that talk? I was up in my head doing all these things when all I really needed to do was be with the kids. And as soon as I realized that, I also recognized, I've opened to Spirit, all in good time. To everything, turn. There was a season. All I needed to do was what was there right now. And the miracle is, as I continued to do that, I had plenty of energy. The exhaustion seemed to melt away. And I did not over-prepare, which I have a tendency to do for my dream workshop or dream play shop. I knew what I planned to do. I really did want to be in the moment, and it was truthfully the best play shop I've ever had. We had an amazing, beautiful experience, and yeah, it was wonderful. So the next couple things I want to share as we move to the end is we are family. And as you choose to let it be, it also means to be present. We get so focused on all the things we have to do as this individual human doing rather than being. When we allow ourselves to be, we start to recognize that we are a family, that we're connected. There are all these other people around us, with us, moving forward with us, and to just feel that is liberating, is peacemaking. If we go beyond our human family and recognize that we are family with every living thing on this planet, as I explained with the breath, that our exhale feeds the green things. They take in the carbon dioxide that we exhale. Valerie was talking about when she works with her clients on the massage table. She takes all the stuff that she feels moving through them as she does her magical work, and she throws it out the window, and the plants take it in, cleanse it, and send out pure oxygen. I mean, that's a miracle. That's just proof positive scientifically, not even from all this woo-woo spiritual stuff. It's proof positive that we are in relationship, connected intimately with every part of this planet. We are a family. Doesn't that make it kind of just take a deep breath and relax a little bit? That there are powers beyond our conscious understanding that we're part of, that are flowing through us, that we are not separate. This breath, this invisible energy around us, connects us. I also had the gift last weekend of going to a Native American ceremony, which was the authentic thing, in a teepee with the fire pit in the middle and an elder there watching everything, that you needed to lay the logs in a specific way. He stopped the process at one point and said, oh no, you need 3 and 3 here, and then 2 and 2, and then 1 and 1. So all the logs were cut specifically. They would move the logs into the circle as they would burn, and then spread the ashes out into this big half moon that they had in clay around the inner part of the circle. They would spread the ashes out and then make pictures out of them. They made the sun, painted the sun. They made the half moon, and towards the end they made the thunderbird. If you want to speak, you raise your hand, and the entire 40 people would turn to you and listen, and you could speak as long as you wanted to, and then you would say, "Aho," and everyone would say, "Aho," and you were giving up the floor. They played the Native American songs where everyone would sing along. The drums went around to each person. If you didn't know how to play the music, they encouraged you just to hold the drums for a while to give the drums your blessing. It was life-changing because you saw not only the sense of family, what called the people together. It was a gratitude ceremony for one of the heads of the tribe or the peoples, and he was the one who led the ceremony. His daughter had a ceremony a number of months ago asking Spirit to bring to her the correct job. And this was a gratitude ceremony because the job had come to her. The interesting thing is, when she planned the gratitude ceremony, that job that had come to her had fallen through. 3 of her friends had died, and she had gone into a deep depression. And she went to her father and said, "No, I want to cancel the ceremony." And he said, "Why?" He said, "Because I'm not feeling gratitude." She burst into tears. But I'm really feeling, like I'm ready to kill myself. And he said to her, he said, sometimes when we call forth to Spirit what we want, we say we want gratitude, he may really challenge us. So he said, I encourage you not to cancel the ceremony, but continue to be in that trust and faith and move through what you're feeling. And a week before the ceremony, the ideal job, even better than what she wanted, because this one was in New York City, where she had dreamed about for years, had finally come through. So it was a magical experience, and it affirmed that sense of family. So to even expand more the idea of family, because the Native Americans, it is so important and such a part of them, they have that innate connection with nature. The trees are their brothers and sisters. They also have the innate connection with their ancestors, and you can feel it there in that ceremony. This was clearly a ceremony that had been practiced for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, probably before our recorded history. And the sense of respect for each other, for the ancestors, for the tradition, and for each other, you can really feel it. And me being of German descent, I don't know if I have any Native American blood in me, yet sitting there in that process, I had, whether it's the collective consciousness or a past life, but I had memories of being there in that energy. And, we are all connected on deep, DNA is the same. We're connected, whether you believe in the original creation or evolution, we are all connected from the very beginning. And so to get that sense of feeling, for me, it allows me to be in that place of letting it be, trusting it. Learn to say yes. I guess the last thing I want to leave you with, and it keys in with all these songs, is to be willing to ask for grace. If we're going to let God serve us and dare to dream, perhaps that's the most powerful dream we can ask for. Which grace, which is, I've heard it as an unearned blessing, I've heard it as the release of karma. It is, I believe, what Jesus Christ came to give us, not to teach us, but through his life, through his being willing to be here on the planet like each of us is, and breathe through his message. He changed the energetic and the chemical makeup of planet Earth. I truly believe that, and certainly the way he's affected the entire planet, and his presence is still felt. This man who just lived 30 years. And so that idea of grace, it's present, it's here for us. The release of struggle, of karma, of give and take, of having to make up repent for our sins. Yet we have to ask for it. We have to open to grace, ask for God to serve it to us. And if it helps to recognize and believe what Christ said, that I am the Son of God and all of us are the children of God, that we all have that Christ aspect in each of us. It is the truth of who we are. Then that means the grace, God's grace, is there as well. And the challenge is to open to that when your button's been pushed, when you're in that struggle. And the mistake is thinking that simply by opening to grace, the feeling is going to go away. We learned this in the Native American ceremony because we're there for a long time and there's a lot of things going on, and they say and they encourage you not to get up. They allow you to if you really need to get up and nature calls or whatever you can, but they encourage you to stay there and breathe through any discomfort that happens. That's what grace will help us to do. Help us to move through those places where we want to run from life to fixing something or whatever, and allow us to be present with ourselves even when we're going through those uncomfortable situations and feelings. And asking for grace and tuning into those things that we've talked about here, that we are family, that God, that energy of God is wanting to give us what we need, to simply breathe, to not judge the feelings, trusting that they are our energetic center, they're our connection with that inner spirit, or if you want to call it the spirit of Mother Earth. And I think I'll end with that, to trust your bodies as you're going through this week, because our bodies is really where we feel the experiences while we're on this earth and in this waking state. And certainly that's what comes up for me when I hear that song, Let It Be. Mother Mary comes to me. Mother, that energy of Mother is the earth for me. It's the oceans, it's the trees, it's the gravity that holds us here. It is our bodies, since our bodies are made up of earth. They're the combination of Mother Earth substance and Father breath, spirit. So let's all just take a deep breath into that. And just allow ourselves right here to come together in this intimate Unity of Ukiah family. And just call in grace, whatever that's going to feel or look like in this coming week. And if it's just remembering the moment here and feeling it. Just notice how that feels in the silence. And gently coming back, the attention's up here. Number one, I want to thank you again so much from my heart for being here, for honoring me and listening to what I had to share with you. And encourage everyone to please come and sing with us. It's going to be fun, and we'll be connecting after the service next week. And now is the time to take out your offerings, and as always, your presence is the gift here. Only give if it's from your heart, and I encourage you, if and when you do give, trust that this is divine substance. So if you want to give with the energy of, this is my affirmation to grace opening into my life. Also, I want you to own and really open to the fact that your offerings are what help allow this church to continue, help allow, hopefully, or faithfully, to get a new paint job, to continue, as Marvin's, we've got this wonderful new mic here, continue to allow the sound equipment to increase. But also remember, it's for you, for your community, for your family. And as you put your offering out with that intention, the spiritual law is it opens the flow, that more is coming. So put it out and open your purse, your heart, to more abundance.